we've realized that getting traffic is as easy as going to the store. What do you mean by that? Meaning that, and what he said was, if you want to buy rice, well then you go to a certain store, right? If you want to buy organic rice, you go to maybe Whole Foods. You don't probably go to your local person. But if you want something specific, you go to the right store. And he said that the way that social media platforms had become was that now was possible. And he was using it and growing his business about at the tune of doubling it every year. He was, at that time, he was about 20 million. Within 2 years, he was over 50. And he did this in multiple markets. So he wasn't just selling digital media, marketing stuff. He was selling stuff in survival, as you'll see. Is in need. There was something called sewing.com that he owned. So he owned all makeup, tutorials, DIY was another one of his companies. So he owned multiple businesses, even, I believe, water filters for big industrial people. And he was finding that these traffic sources, even though most people would go, oh, I'm an industrial water guy, I can't find who I need on Facebook, he did. And then once he did, he was able to scale these and really grow these super rapidly, which is something I hope that you're going to be able to learn by the end of this. So this is one of his quotes. He says that traffic is the road between your product or service and your target market. Right? So you have your product, you have your service, and then you have the people you want to reach, and traffic is that road. And if you can get that road dialed in, if you can get you can build a super highway, then you can scale your business to whatever level you want. Some of my clients, or one in particular, got to a point where there really was no such thing as a marketing budget because she was getting such a high return that she was giving Facebook $1 and they were giving her back between 6 and 7 in business. So when that happens, you don't really have a marketing budget. What does that mean? It means it's like saying an investment budget. This investment is giving me back all this money in sales. All right, and we're going to show you a little bit about what she did actually. So this is actually her sales. So this is a few months before. This is her Shopify. She was a total of 6,000. When I got to her, when she hired me, she was at about 25 to 3,000 a month. We got her up. We doubled it fairly quickly with light ads, and then we built some of these systems that we're talking about, and we got her up to 15 and eventually 17,000 per month. Right. And so she was able to literally gave Facebook $1, and they were giving her back 7. So who's this for? Well, if you've failed at social media advertising, right, or social media or advertising, or both in the past, right? If you've been concerned in the past that you can't succeed with social media advertising, because I'm from an agency, sorry, it's my deep dark secret. I used to be the digital marketing director for an agency in White Plains, and so I got to see kind of the underbelly of the agency model. Is anybody in here an agent? All right. So to know the exorbitant prices that they charge, right? And a lot of times, most of them are married to an old style of doing business, so they don't bother to measure the results. They just tell you, it looks amazing. We got a whole bunch of people saw it. We got new likes. As you said, new likes. Can't really buy anything with likes. So we're here to show you how to do this, right? So my goal for you is you walk away, that you'll understand that the only way for you to predictably, which is a key word here, predictably increase your sales and in your business and get it consistent and reliable and scalable. All those are very well chosen words, right? They're because I want to just step out for a second. Does anybody get their business by referrals? Yeah, most of it, right? So how scalable are referrals? They're not, right? So you can only grow so much. And also the bad thing about referrals is they can go dry, right? Feast, famine, for no reason. All of a sudden you're like, where's the business? I thought we had a business. It's just gone. So, and that's the problem with a lot of other things online. So if you're doing social media marketing, right? So if you're really doing well in social media marketing, you might have a post that gets a lot of reach, and maybe some people go to your website and they buy, and you're like, yes! But then 2 weeks later, no one remembers who you are. Right? So again, you keep running into this ceiling when you use other models besides paid advertising. If you're using SEO, it's very similar, right? So you can get a whole bunch of traffic, right? Everybody know what search engine optimization is? Playing around with the Googles, yeah. And you're getting traffic from the Googles, and then all of a sudden Google says, oh, we changed our algorithm. But they don't tell you this, by the way. You just notice that your traffic plummets. Again, not scalable. Not saying it's not useful, not saying it's good, it's not a good tool. It's not scalable, it's not reliable, and it's definitely not consistent. The only way to be consistent is to just put your money down and give people and say, I'd like to pay to have some of your traffic come my way. But it's a very dangerous proposition, isn't it? Because no one likes to lose money, and we're all kind of still, especially in this room, we're all kind of still married to this idea of advertising as an expense. Like, put an ad in the newspaper, let's get some buzz going, these kind of things. So, who am I? I'm Kyle. I'm definitely not a techie, all right? I was an off-Broadway regional theater actor for years. I've been running paid traffic since 2012, and I'm the founder of Growdown Marketing. So this is a picture of me with Dave and John from Traffic and Conversion Summit a few years back when I was first really starting to build my business. And he actually told me something that changed my business entirely. He said, the person who owns media, and he told me a long story which I don't have time to tell you about this, but the person who can own a media, meaning they own people's attention, can pretty much write their own ticket. And with paid traffic, it gives you the ability to barter for that attention. So you can start to build your own media. I'm certified, as you can see. So real quick, how did I get here? Well, I was going through kind of a prolonged divorce back in 2011 and 12. I moved out from my kids. And I had been this actor who was now waiting tables and doing wine stuff for restaurants. And I had wandered into a very lucrative job in a nightclub in the city. The only problem was I had to catch the last train, right, the 1:50 train. I would miss it sometimes. I'd race home, get my kids up at 7. I was exhausted. And I knew, being firmly in middle age, that this was not going to be something that I could keep doing. Right? I also just didn't want to do it. My kids would be like, what do you do, Dad? And I'm like, oh, I work in a restaurant. That's what I do. I work in a nightclub. So it just didn't bide with me. I didn't want that anymore. But I had a problem. I hadn't, gone to school for anything. The last thing I'd been in conservatory for acting, so I was stuck. So luckily, I met a woman who was attached to this man right here in the middle. That's Ryan Dice from Digital Marketer. And because there were a lot of scammers in 2012, but I was lucky to wander into his. And what I realized from learning from him was that I could start to do social media. So I immediately set up a social media agency. I started to get results for clients. Everything was going great. And then in 2013, about April, I was looking at my computer and I could literally feel the blood draining out of my face and in my feet. Because I realized that for the third week in a row, all my what they call organic reach, does anybody know what that means? It just means how many people see your post, was plummeting for no reason across every client I had. And I couldn't figure it out, and then it hit me. Facebook had gone public, they needed money, they were moving to pay-per-play. Right? There was never going to be that wild days of organic reach reaching 80% of your fans. Mine at that point was down to about 29 and dropping. It went down to, now it's at 2 to 6%. So I don't know if you know this, but unless your post is particularly engaging, you get about a 2% to 6% reach, meaning 2 out of 100, 6 out of 100 of your fans see your post. So Facebook has done nothing but throttle that down. So luckily, a friend of mine had come to me and asked me, hey, you do Facebook, how about ads? And I thought, why not? So I ran some ads, and back then, ads were only in the right column, and they were dirt cheap, about 2 cents. And I was literally getting this man buyers for 10 cents, 12 cents. And he was selling a $50 product. It was amazing. So I was like, yes! So I tried it with another client, and it bombed. Total disaster. And I couldn't figure out, like, why did this guy work? He has this very weird product, which you'll see in a second. And why did he bomb and this other people didn't? So I kind of abandoned paid traffic and moved into SEO, and I figured out a little hack. I think someone in this room was a beneficiary of that hack, where I was able to rank Google Hangouts on air, very specific time, and be able to put people on the first page in Google in minutes, sometimes hours. But it happened, right? So it was great. And then Google said, we're not going to, you know what, we think Google Plus is a bust, so we're throttling that reach down to nothing. So again, I was faced again with this empty skill set. I finally realized it's time to learn ads, dude. So what I realized was the key to my ad, not understanding why my ads work sometimes and they worked other times really well, was the ones that didn't work didn't have a sales process, or what some people call a sales funnel. Right? So real quick, if I explain this, unless you're a massive brand like Verizon, and you put on Facebook, hey, Verizon, new iPhones, $50 all day long. Well, your store's going to be flooded because everybody knows who you are. But if you're Joe's Phones of Scarsdale or Mayopack, and you do the same offer, you probably get no one. Why? Because no one knows who you are, and they don't trust you, and they'll say, this is a scam. The phones are broken. I'm not going to drive all the way to Mayopack for junk, right? So that's the difference. Is in real life, we rarely, or if ever, actually would just walk up to somebody. I say this a lot about dating. Walk up to somebody and just go, "Hi, I'm Kyle. Want to go out?" Right? It doesn't work like that. I'd have to introduce myself, and you need to do the same thing, particularly online, where you're in the most competitive environment in the world is online. You're not just competing against, the old school neighborhood that your other competitors. You're competing against the entire world, and then more than that, you're competing for attention, and you're competing with people that are really good at it, like Facebook, like Instagram, like Pinterest. They're really good at grabbing attention, and you're competing with them. When you put your ad, when you put any message, you're competing with all of that. So you've got to have a process, and we'll show you that in a minute. Oops. All right, so if you've been struggling with making advertising work, this is probably why. It's because you're basically asking for marriage on the first date. So this is what we used to have to do in the past when we thought about advertising. We'd have to hire an expensive agency. You'd have to put all your trust in them. And then you paid for exposure or impressions. Now in the real old school, does anybody know how that worked with like TV advertising? How that actually worked? What happened was the agency really didn't charge the client necessarily. What they did was they went to the television station and they said, "Sell us time at half cost." And the station would, and then they would resell that time, marking it up 100% to the client. That was the old way, right? So a lot of these agencies are still stuck there. So if sales went up, they took credit. If they went down, they said, it's the environment, it's the market, it's whatever it is, right? So the upfront costs were astronomical. And the other problem was it was a super slow process. You ever seen admin when they all sit around those tables and they're all like cooking up this? It takes months. And then once they have it, it's not very flexible. It's not like guerrilla marketing where you can go in there and change it. Everybody remember the new Coke? Right? That was a massive disaster. And it took them a while to recover, right? Because they couldn't just take it off. They painted all these billboards. They'd done all this stuff. They bought all the ads. So today we're going to talk about the 3 secrets of social advertising. The first one is how to ethically steal over $1 million worth of advertising hacks from Digital Marketer, from Uber, The Economist, many others, and for free using the 5 elements of high converting ads. Secret number 2, how to then create high converting ads into less than 30 minutes. That's if you're pretty good. It may take you an hour. And then 3, how to find and target your perfect prospects online. So let's go for the first one, how to ethically steal over $1 million. And this is a 3-step traffic system which works regardless of market, and also the 5 elements of high converting ads which also work regardless of market. So some entrepreneurs might think, I don't understand how social media advertising will work for me. So to create a consistent and a flow of leads and customers, you need to look at this like a system, like you do dating, like you do relationships. It's a system, right? So why? Because we're actually marketing to humans. That's why it's so similar to dating. We're not marketing to robots. It's not like robots are just buying our stuff. We're marketing to people, right? Online customer behavior is really evolving. And the trust is at a low time, probably the lowest time that we've ever had, with so many messages coming at it. We're exposed to more messages in one day than our great-great-grandfathers were in their lifetimes. So here's a simple marketing funnel, right? So I talked about funnel or sales process. And this is true, if you think about it, this is how you buy stuff. You can't buy stuff unless you're aware of it, right? So you've got to have some kind of awareness. Now, unfortunately, a lot of agency models end there. They just make you aware. That's called creating buzz. But that's only the first part. And buzz dies faster than ever. Right? The second is evaluation. So once you become aware, you start thinking, kind of interesting. I might take a look at this. I might go to their website. I might look them up on reviews. Right? That's evaluation. And finally, conversion. That's where you go, I'm going to give them a shot. I'm going to try it. I'm going to become a customer. Maybe just a little bit at first, but I'm going to give this a shot. The other thing about this is this idea of a traffic temperature. Now, when you're talking about traffic, which we're doing today, one of the things that's really helpful is to think in terms of three. So I showed you the 3 steps in the marketing funnel. This is the 3 temperatures. So what does that mean? So basically, this is kind of models that funnel. You have cold traffic. Anyone want to guess what that is? Right, they don't know you, right? Cold people, they're strangers. Warm traffic, those are people who have either been to your website, opted into your email list, seen some of your videos, anything like that, read your blog post. And then you've got hot, those are your buyers, right? Those are people who have already bought from you before. And you actually, when we build these systems, we target all 3. A lot of people go, why on earth would you want to buy? Why would you want to target hot audiences? It doesn't make sense. Because you need testimonials, you need repeat buying. Those are the people most likely to buy from you. And actually, most of the money is made there in the middle. The least amount of money is made on the outside, in the cold. So each campaign that we're going to talk about has a specific objective or goal. The first is for awareness. We just want to introduce the business who have never heard of you, right? The second, in the middle there, is we want to convert that site visitor to a lead. We call that acquisition. And finally, the third is to sell higher dollar products to your best repeat customers. We call that monetization. So what do they look like? So one of the biggest problems that I see over and over again, if I had to say one issue that clients that come that are having a disaster with their advertising, is they're trying to ask for, again, marriage on the first date. They're trying to have one campaign do everything. Go from not knowing who you are to buying your $20,000 product. It's crazy, right? It's just not feasible. Unless you have a massive brand, even then, it takes multiple exposures, right? So, we talked about this before. So, let's talk about the high converting ad campaign, the 5 elements. The first is an offer. You notice I didn't say your product, and I didn't say your service. Because those things are commodities. Right? So those things are commodities. You want to look for an offer. An offer is very different. An offer is your product or your service packaged in a certain way that makes it super attractive. And we're going to show you in a second what that means. Does anybody know Russell Brunson? ClickFunnels. All right, so Russell used to have a thing where he would do this. He would pull out his iPhone and go, you know what? I can sell you guys this iPhone for $10,000, and everybody would laugh at him. He said, no, I'm serious. I will guarantee you someone will buy this in the next 10 minutes. And they said, it's not possible. He said, no, it's not possible because you're thinking it's a commodity. You're thinking it's a product. And when you're a product or a commodity, then people will shop you on price. They don't have a choice, right? You're not giving them anything else to think about. So they're going to go, well, I like money. I'd like to keep it in my wallet. So I'm going to get the guy who's the cheapest price. I said, what else is there? Well, what Russell would do is he was talking to entrepreneurs and that were really into digital marketing. He'd say, by the way, guys, this phone actually has Tony Robbins, Richard Branson's, and he did. He's a big player. He said all their cell phones, personal cell phones, right here in this stuff. Their numbers. You can just dial them. He said, secondly, I've spent over $1 million on my education, my marketing education. Every single course has been downloaded to this phone. It's $1 million of the best, smartest minds in marketing throughout the last 20 years. And he would just go on until $10,000 became ridiculous, where you're like, sure, obviously worth that. Because he wasn't talking about just a commodity. He wasn't talking about just a phone anymore. So the biggest question you need to ask yourself is, are you actually offering something that people want? So let's take a look at this. This is a dentist in Austin. And notice how they do this. This is a nice ad. This is a nice local ad. Here's what you get. They spell it out. Professional dental cleaning, x-rays, full dental exam, Sign up takes less than a minute. We're even giving you the benefit of how quick it is. 99 bucks. Sign up takes less than a minute. Right? Pretty good. Right? Notice they didn't say, we're Austin Dentist, come and get your teeth cleaned with us. That's what most local people do. Come and get your teeth cleaned. No thanks. Right? You're not going to get very many people taking you up on that offer. This offer, though, much better. This is a fantastic offer. This is done by Survival Life, one of Digital Marketing's properties. Now they deal, I don't know if you know them, but they deal with preppers, the people that think, the world's going to end, we're all done. And they stockpile guns, and they're always looking for ways to survive the apocalypse. And so here's an Everstrike, and this actually was a video. This rain was pouring down on this match, and it just stayed lit the whole time. Here's his offer. Get it for a penny. Now, of course, he had a back end that was phenomenal, and he was able to monetize that and make actually a return on that. It seems like he can't, but he had a good funnel on the back end, right? So let's move to copy, the second element of the high converting ads. Your copy should convey why you're offering. You notice the dentist, they didn't just go, hey, we got this great deal, come in and get it, it's 99 bucks. That's not articulating anything except you got some deal that I don't know anything about. So no thanks. Here's a great one by Hired. So this company is I think they're in the recruiting space. It says if you're counting down the hours until you leave the office, it might be time for a change. With over 3,500 companies on Hired, find the one you're passionate about, right? So they're going right to a direct benefit to their market, right? They're looking for people that are bored in their jobs, and they targeted by using the Facebook auctions and Instagram, they targeted tech people, right? So they were very specific about who they were looking for. Sales pros, you're in high demand in Austin, right? Sign up. Here's a wine. This is an awesome wine company. It delivers wine right to your door. And they're saying, stop going to the store. Right? We'll deliver personalized wines to your doorstep. Get started today. Take $20 off your first order and receive free shipping. That's an offer. See the difference between just going, hey, we got some wine, and we deliver it. That's nice. No reason for me to take action. I'll think about it, which means never. In marketing, later means never, especially in these days. So creative. Your creative should convey the marketing message. This is, when I was with an agency, the owner of the agency used to drive me insane. Because he would love to try and hack attention. So he would put puppies on these ads. It had nothing to do with puppies. And it was and they perform miserably, right? Because even if you get people clicking on the ad, they're not qualified. They just click on the ad because they like the puppy picture. They're not clicking on the ad because they want the website revision, which is what he was selling, right? So don't try to be cute is really the message. Don't do it. It's just people are too smart for it, and it's just basically clickbait. And also Facebook, I don't know if does anybody know how Facebook and Instagram work as far as charging you money? It's an auction process, okay? So meaning that, and this is kind of a hard thing maybe to wrap your head around. It was for me. I was like, what? If your ad gets clicked on a lot, do you think you pay more or less?
Less.
I watched your video, so I know it's less.
You gave it away.
Okay, good. We like that. Right, less. Much less. Why? Does it make sense? It does. You got to realize that all of these platforms, Google, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, whatever, they have one goal: to keep you on their platform so they can show you more ads. That's it. That's their goal. The longer you're on their platform, YouTube, same thing. The longer you're on their platform, the more ads they can show you, the more money they make. The faster you leave, the less money they make. So by you keeping people on Facebook or giving them a good experience, you get to share in the profit. That's how it works. So here's a great one from Digital Marketer. This was targeting bloggers for this product. And you notice what they did. Is anybody familiar with what that is? I don't know what that is. That's the WordPress interface for blogging. So that's what you see that all the time. That's like when you're writing a blog post. Those are all little icons. You can make your text and stuff. So they used something that was very familiar to that audience that would make them stop and go, whoa, what's that? Right? Again, we're going back to Hired again. this is a great ad because it shows you that you can move your experience, your life experience, from being bored out of your mind and overworked into something much more pleasurable and have more of a life, right? And they use an image that we all understand, gas gauge, right? Really smart, really, really good. And we're going to show you a hack in a few minutes on how you actually can come up with these kind of ideas. So you don't have to think, well, oh my God, I'm not some creative dude. It doesn't matter, or gal. It doesn't matter. You can use some tools that I'll show you in a second. This is a company called Crew. They fix, they're on an app, they fix your app. And no one, we all know that little people aren't going to fly and go inside of our phones, but it's fun, right? And it shows what they're attempting to sell us. Is this idea of, we're going to fix your phone really quickly. We're going to send our best people on it. This one's great. So this is a financial planner. And people say, oh, you can't sell that stuff on Facebook. Absolutely. These people killed it with this ad, right? So this is all, I totally got it this time. Budgeting, the first, boom, right? This is, we're all familiar with this, right? Where we just have a lot more month than our money. The fourth element is what we call ad scent. Ad scent. So all that means, a fancy way of saying maintaining the congruency from your ad to your landing page. And this is a problem. This is a big problem for people. But here's the issue. This is how we all search. If you think about it, if you start searching for something, you go to a site, you're like, nah, that's not what I want. And you keep returning to the hub, right? Don't you? You think about it, you go to Google, you type in something, you click on the first thing, and you go there, you go, no, that's not it. You go back to Google, don't you? You go back to your hub. You hit on the next one, maybe that's it, right? So if your landing page, that you're taking your ad, your traffic from your ad, doesn't resemble, we're going to show you actually a big brand doing this, doesn't resemble it, they're going to go, this doesn't feel right? It's an unconscious decision. It's not like they go, I don't think the colors match. They'll just be like, I don't think this is the right site, I'm out, right? Now you've paid for them to go, I don't think this is the right site, I'm out. So the three elements of an ad send are design, benefits, and offer, right? You got to be congruent, meaning if you're going to talk about how you get 50% off by doing something, when they go to that landing page, it should say 50% off. It shouldn't just say sign up. People go, wait, where's the 50%? Oh, this isn't right, and they're gone again, right? So this is super important. This is actually one of these sneaky, like cancer-like things that can really destroy an ad. So here's Whole Foods. Whole Foods, big brand, smart marketers, smart people, a full-time marketing team. They made this mistake. This is a free Instacart delivery from our downtown store. When you clicked on it, you went to terms for appeasement, free delivery credit. What? Now I think I've wandered definitely onto the wrong page. Now I'm sure what they were trying to do was explain to you how it works and to get you to sign off. But you can do that later. You don't want to take somebody from this lovely picture, right, to this thing, which looks like some kind of weird policy legal thing. But they did, right? Finally, the final element is targeting. And the offer and targeting, to me, are the most important, right? These are the things that we're really targeting, like you had said, right? So you were using what we call demographic targeting, right? Which you can't do anymore, some of it. You can't target by income any longer. So it's been a while since you ran an ad. Here's the problem with that, we all want to do it. Because we think, oh, I want to get those people that have all that money. First of all, Facebook they have a lot, believe me. They have a lot of data on you. They don't have everything. And they don't know how much everyone makes, right? Even back then. So you're going to miss out on a lot of people that way. But second of all, it doesn't have anything to do with what you were selling. What were you selling?
Career services, career coaching.
Career coaching. All right, great. Career coaching. So one of my favorite mentors is a man named Gary Halbert. I've talked about this before. He's dead now, unfortunately. He was probably the greatest copywriter that ever lived. He bankrupted companies. He was so good. They couldn't keep up with the production of what he was selling through his copy.
What's his name? Who is it?
Gary Halbert.
Which agency?
He was his own. He had no agency. He would charge, I don't know how much money for his ads, because they always worked. But what Gary would do is he would say to us, he'd go, okay, you guys, you and me, we're going to open up a hamburger stand I'm going to give you guys, meaning all the rest of the class, anything you guys want. Take it. Somebody go, oh, cool, I want the best food. He goes, you think I care about food? Take it. Take the stupid burger. And they'd go down. You know, finally somebody would go, I know what it is, it's location. Gary, I want the best location. He goes, big deal, take the best location. And it became this, at the end you were like, Gary, what do you want? What is it that you want? And he'd go, oh, me, I just want one thing. And that one thing will demolish you idiots. And he said, it's a starving crowd. Right? So what he understood was the people that market for people who need it the most. So for you, I would start looking more for people that already had raised their hand with other gurus like Tony Robbins. Right? More than money. I would start looking into people that have raised their hand about Tony Robbins, other life coaching. Because people in that marketplace tend to move from coach to coach to coach. People that were, people that had read
Is
certain
it showing
books.
that they need help is basically what you're saying? Like somebody who's already interested in Tony Robbins is saying, I'm looking to make change in my life. Is
Right.
that what you mean?
Right. Now, Tony Robbins may be a little bit what you would call broad, because so many people like him. He's a massive celebrity, so I probably wouldn't actually use him.
The problem is I
But I
think
would
I'm
use somebody
offering
second
something-
tier.
I'm focusing on college to career and early stage career, and I think a lot of people don't know that it exists, this concept of getting help for it. So I'm targeting an audience that doesn't know that they want it.
Here's the thing, what I found doing this for a while, if you look to your competitors, go find people. If you can't find competitors, you need to I would rethink your niche. Because at this day and age, a competitive niche is a good niche, right? That means there's people making money already. So look and see, I'm pretty sure there are.
Yeah,
there are people that are out
I
there.
have
right?
competitors.
Target them, target those kind of people, and you'll get much better results because you're getting people that have already raised their hands rather than people who make income. They could have inherited that money. I mean, they could care less about your coaching, right? See, it's just too broad. It's too much. You really want to narrow down, which is what we're talking about right here. So don't put your campaign in front of the wrong audience. You need specificity. So real quick, Molly Pittman from Digital Marketer, who has run now like over $100 million in ads, has told me once that, she said, here's the thing. If I was looking to sell something in the golf market, you know who I would not target? Tiger Woods. Because Tiger's too big. Lots of people like him. They have nothing to do with golf. I would target somebody 3 steps down like Bubba Watson. Because only freaks, well at least this was 3 or 4 years ago, only golf freaks knew Bubba Watson. Right? Now there was a few hundred, there was 60 or 70,000 of them, which is not a small market, but whereas Tiger had millions, your instinct is go, let's go with the millions. But the problem is it's not specific and your ads will not perform well. Because you're showing it to people who could be kids, could be anything. Could be like, yeah, I like Tiger, so what? You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with them wanting to buy golf equipment. So she targeted golf stores, right? Major brands already. Those were much smarter because again, she found the starving crowd. So my investment to learn all this was around $62,547. It took me, from 2011 till now. I'm still having to learn this every day because it changes so much. So who does it work for? Well, as you can see, survivalists, financial planners, therapists, chiropractors, dentists, wine merchants, recruiters, e-commerce. It really works for just about any type of business. I might leave off funeral directors, but I'm sure somebody's going to prove me wrong on this. All right, so the 5-step converting ad process really works to sell anything. All right, secret number 2, how to create high converting ads in less than 60 minutes. Many entrepreneurs, I run into this all the time, say, well, I'm not creative, I'm not a writer, this is just, there's no way. All right, so this is something I learned luckily on my very first ad account. So I told you that this guy approached me in 2012 to help him sell this strange product, which was this. Believe it or not, this was the idiotic product I was hired to sell. It is a headlight cover that goes over the back of your Jeep. And the original ones didn't even have a flag, it just had another Jeep cut out. Dumbest product I've ever sold. Really. And I had to come up with copy. And I just started to learn all this stuff, and I was like, and the deadline was really getting tight on me. And the agency who had hired me was calling me daily, like, dude, where's the copy? Where's the copy? And finally, when I went into my nightclub job, luckily, the manager threw down his keys, and there was a Jeep thing on his keys. And I was like, do you drive a Jeep? He goes, yeah, I drive a Jeep. So I started just demolishing with questions. Asked him everything about that Jeep. Everything. finally he said something that I've never forgotten. He goes, yeah, I said, why? Why do you drive the Jeep? He goes, dude, because it makes me feel indestructible. That's why. And I was like, make your Jeep indestructible again with this idiotic thing. And it sold like crazy. It sold. He was for a dime, he was getting buyers, and we sold 17 in the first 2-3 weeks. And each one of these things was $65. So it was a great first. I mean, imagine this guy's never been online, never advertised, nothing. And he got 17 orders in just under 3 weeks, right? By using that headline. And so what I want to tell you is that the answers are not being creative and spin-like. That's old school, right? That's when things were in, where what I call the sale for attention had already been made. Meaning, so what does that mean? I know that sounds bizarre. You sit down in a dentist's office and you open up a magazine. Has the sale for your attention already been made? Kind of, right? You've decided, I'm going to page through this. Now, how long? But I am going to page through this. Guess what the sale is not made? When your thumb is moving through Facebook. There's no sale. All you know is the sale is Facebook's won the sale, and that's you're going to be on my platform for a little bit. But for me to stop, I've got to win that sale. See what I mean? I've got to win. It's very different than the magazine people had it. I've got to actually win the sale for your attention first, or you'll never see my ad. This is super key. So all the great copywriters have said this. It only took me about 6 years to finally understand it. The answers are in your market. They're not in your clever ideas or your clever word spins. Right? That kind of stuff impresses other agency people. It rarely sells very well. Because think about it, it's hard to figure out. You're like, oh, what do they mean? Is that like a twist? Or anyway, I'm not. You don't have time, right, to think about their cool little twist. Right? So the answers are in your market. Now this is a tool that we use on that I got from Digital Marketer. We use this on every single campaign. I insist it's always just filled out. And this tool was responsible for a lot of those ads that you saw. Now we don't have time to go into all of it today. It's just basically you're talking about the idea that no one actually buys products and no one actually buys services. Anybody know what they buy?
Experience.
Right, transformation. Right, transformation. I'm bored. I'm going to buy this stick of gum so I'll be occupied and have a nice burst of flavor. That's a transformation. Has transformed my bored moment into something more tolerable, more pleasurable. Right? That's what people are buying. Even when they're buying a T-shirt, they're still buying an identity, right? Aren't they? They're buying an identity. When they buy clothing, they're buying that I'm cool because I belong with these people. I wear these kinds of clothes. I'm this kind of person. That's a transformation. So transformation is actually what everyone is buying. And if you can speak in that language, you win. Right? You win. Think about the hired ad. Remember the hired ad with the fuel gauge? Right? Does that not speak your language if you hate your job? You're like, Jesus, man, I can't wait till the weekend. I feel empty. People say that all the time. I feel empty. And then they see that. They're like, oh, that's me. That looks like me. Right? Again, the answers are always in the market. So this is something we fill out. So basically, real quick, we just run through what does somebody have before they meet you? How do they feel before they meet your product or service? What's their average day like? If you think about hired, they use the average day. They said, are you counting down the hours to the weekend? That's an average day thing, right? Isn't it? That's what everyone feels like in a bored job. Your status. This is super powerful. Generally, these things get more powerful as they go down. Everybody talks about the first one. Hey, you've got spots, now you don't. Okay. It's not much of a transformation, but it's a little better than nothing. But if you can somehow tie not having spots to an elevated status, you win. And you win huge. All right, some entrepreneurs might not think, you know what, I'm not a designer. I can't design all this stuff. So here's your new best friends if you want to learn how to design. Google. This is the hack I was talking about. So when you're looking for something, like a friend of mine was looking for something that had to do with something running out. So they were like, what runs out? And they put into Google, energy running out. You know what they came up with? A battery. The battery sign that we all know from our phone. And that's what they used. Because instantly we know what that's like. And basically her offer was, time is running out. It's almost over. The sale's almost over. And that battery just killed that ad. It just made it amazing. It really had a huge click-through rate, very low cost, literally about a nickel per click. These are some, so Google is a fantastic way to find ad creatives, ad designs. The second word is to hire somebody from Upwork. Anybody know what Upwork is? Yeah, pretty good, right? You can audition people on Upwork. You can actually have 4 or 5 people. 99 Designs is another one, a little more expensive, but Fiverr, very inexpensive. Definitely want to audition people for design on that, though. But you can find good designs for $10, $20, right? Very good designs. I've recently been talking to working with a logo designer. You may know Jill Singer.
Yes.
Okay, so Jill's been did a campaign of mine, and we're having a deal of like, this is a multiple design thing. I need a great rate. Right? So if you're going to be doing this a lot, which one of the things about Facebook is you can test something, and if it doesn't work, you can tear it down in a day. I always say give it 72 hours, which means you're going to spend maybe $20 or $30. If the ad doesn't work, you get to tear it down. Very different from what the other people used to have to do, right? The new Coke people, where they bought all the billboards, they bought all the space. This time you just go, ad's not working, chunk. Let's try something you didn't do, right? All you did was waste $30, maybe. Probably.
So these are people that will help you, like, literally design the.
Absolutely. But here's my warning about this. Remember, you are the person in charge. Designers love to make things pretty. Pretty rarely sells. I hate to say it. Pretty rarely sells. Pretty designs. Like some of the most broke website owners, and I know I'm going to insult somebody here, are Squarespace owners. Squarespace, it looks amazing. It's not really built for conversion. One of the highest, most money-making companies on the internet is a company called Agora Publishing. They publish to similar survival-type right-wing, multi-million dollar, billion-dollar company. Some of the ugliest landing pages you've ever seen, and ads. It's counterintuitive. The message is king with that. So, with the designer, yes, it's nice to make it look fairly nice, but never let nice or beautiful design trump your message. If you notice, most of those things were not like, wow, design. They were just nice and they were interesting, like the gas gauge. That wasn't, some super expensive high-end design. This is another one. This is a super hack. I love this hack. This happened after the Cambridge Analytica. So, everybody remember the Cambridge Analytica scandal with Facebook? They got into all kinds of trouble, right? For selling your data. One of the things that they had to do, or they chose to do actually, they chose to do this, was when you go to a business's page, i.e. your competitor, or maybe somebody that's in your niche that's is a much bigger competitor. If you click on page transparency, it's right there on their page. It says page transparency. It's a box. It will open up this, and it will say, this page is currently running ads. Go to ad library. So you can go and hack your competitor's ads. Right? You can go. Now, I'm saying this so that I do not mean steal and copy. All right? I mean be inspired, because especially when you look at how long the ads have been running, if an ad has been running for a month, 2 months, that ad is more than likely profitable. It means that you can go, okay, they're using a girl on a beach. What could I do that's similar? Right? And because the ad is already proven, right? So there's a couple warnings about that. One is do not rip them off entirely. That's wrong. And they could probably come after you. Use it for inspiration. And the second thing is with massive brands, you may want to rethink, because some of the brands have so much money they don't care if it's working or not. They just throw it out there. So pick more mid-tier competitors. All right. Again, this could be for your jewelry. This could be somebody that's much bigger jeweler, and just go in and hack their ads and go, okay, they're looking, right, and start. What's the copy they're using? What's the creative they're using? It's an amazing thing. It really is. It's worth more than probably anything I've given you today. So this is what we used to have to do, right, to run an ad. I don't know. That's some show called like The Hard Way or something. I don't know. Because I don't know anything about it, but it just looked fun. Hire copywriters, expensive designers, take weeks to get the creative, not be able to track results. That used to be running advertising. That's what it was like. And now there's a new and better way, and I've been showing you that this whole morning, right? So we call it the before and after system. That's using that before and after worksheet. That's using all the hacks of Fiverr, Google, your competitors to come up with a decent design. All right? So, secret number 3, how to find and target your perfect customers. Some say, well, listen, this all sounds great, but there's no way I'm going to be able to find these people. I'm not like a Facebook dude or guru. So let's show you how to do that. There's actually some software that we use to do this, make this very easy. The first is called SimilarWeb. SimilarWeb, you can go to a person's, this is actually a kind of a frightening story, real quick. A couple weeks ago, somebody called me to run their Facebook ad. And I said, well, what are you doing now? And she said, well, I have this store, and I'd heard about her before because a client of mine was working with her. And he said, and she said, I got the store. I learned everything I need to know about Facebook in 10 days. I was like, well, that's impressive. And she goes, and now I'm making $100,000 a month. I said, really? That's amazing. That's in 10 days you did that? Yeah, 100,000. So it just didn't ring right. So while we were talking on the phone, I pulled up SimilarWeb and I just looked at her traffic. So 167 people a month came to that site. 167 people. Now, either she's got the best clientele in the world, or she's lying, which is what she was doing. Right? She was just inflating it and wasting my time and wasting hers. Right? So SimilarWeb will not only show you how much traffic certain sites are getting, it will show you the ads that they're running. So if you can't find them on Facebook, you can find them this way. SEMrush will also, these are paid tools. SimilarWeb has a free version you can use for a bit. SimilarWeb does too, although it's much shorter that you can use it. And then finally, one of the most amazing tools around called the Audience Insights, which is inside your ads manager of Facebook. So this is something that would have cost you probably $100,000 in the 90s to get. This is demographic data on people who follow certain pages or your own pages if you have a certain amount of fans. So you can go and go, you know what, like we said, Tony Robbins, right? I know that wasn't the right one, but just say he was. We would be able to plug in Tony Robbins and it would show me how old these people are, where they live, how much money they spend, what kind of devices they have, what are the other pages, which is the most important thing. Those other pages will show you targets.
What is it called? What do you mean by the other pages?
So the other pages that they like.
That they follow.
So see right here in the middle, it says page likes. That's the key. Demographics and page likes. That's the key. You want to go into that tab and you want to look at all the pages that your people like. All right?
So you go to Ads Manager and then what?
So Ads Manager,
Yeah.
go into Tools or Assets. You know what? They move this stuff around. It's annoying for
Okay.
Facebook. It's either Tools or Assets, and you just go and you'll see Audience Insights. Click on it. And it will open this up, and it'll say, do you want to target everybody on Facebook or people connected to your page? Start with everybody on Facebook, and then start putting in pages. And people that you know who, you're like, look, my market.
So you're talking in SimilarWeb, you take the Facebook page?
No, this is in the back
Right
end.
on Facebook.
Yeah, this is Facebook.
This is on Facebook, okay.
But so these guys are separate. This is inside the Facebook Ads Manager. It's a tool, could be an asset, whatever they're calling it. It should be a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go in there and you plug in your competitors. And you'll find, and then the other thing is once you get those competitors, you can plug them in and find more competitors. You can literally just go there for hours of amusement and compile a list of like 600 targets.
And
Start testing.
even if they're on the smaller end, that'll...
No.
Okay.
They need
That
they
was
need
a-
to have
that was a couple
15,
every
20,000.
Okay.
Usually, maybe more. But there's plenty of people. Again, you need to think of like, okay, now sometimes I've had 5,000 show up. I've had 2,000 show up.
Mm-hmm.
Can't, and then I've had 50,000 not show up. So it's not exact, but if you can't find somebody, just think again. Okay, who else? If it's not Tony Robbins, maybe it's Brian Tracy. Maybe it's, you know what I mean? Like you just start.
And you can target that audience?
Absolutely, right? That's the magic of Facebook.
What's something on LinkedIn, like who likes Adam Grant, who's a social psychologist and deals a lot with career-related stuff? I guess I can do the same on Facebook.
Much more specific on Facebook. The problem with LinkedIn is, they've had a hard time making it profitable and had a hard time keeping users. Now they're driving women away because I guess guys are hitting girls up on LinkedIn now. So Microsoft is really putting a lot of money into it. They're trying to turn it around. The ads are outrageously expensive. They are 10 to 20 to 50 times more expensive than Facebook. But they're more targeted. But also I find that LinkedIn people are expecting it. They have their guard up. They're not relaxed because it's a business site. Facebook, they're kicking back. They're chilling. They're talking to their friends. It's always an easier sell for me. I haven't had a lot of, I started on LinkedIn. That was one of my first platforms. Not saying you can't use it, not saying it's not a good platform for you. What I say is test on Facebook. If it works on Facebook with that audience, take something that works on Facebook and move that thing over to LinkedIn. That's really what I do. Because now you can spend the money because you know it works. But you do not want to be testing on LinkedIn. You'll go broke very quick.
Facebook would be an older audience right now because young people aren't using it. So how do you have to think about that as well?
Right. I mean, that goes back to the store. Are they really not using it? I don't know.
They're not.
My kids use it. Everyone I know uses it because they get in touch with their grandfather parents. But guess what? Facebook and Instagram are the same. Everybody know that? Right? Facebook owns Instagram. So they definitely are on Instagram. So if you're advertising on Facebook, all you do is check a box, which I don't recommend doing that. I would recommend actually having a separate ad for just Instagram, because you can't use a lot of the text stuff that you can use on Facebook on Instagram. But they're right there anyway. So either way, you're going to get them. Right? Actually, it's crazy, but Facebook and Instagram, those two platforms have more traffic on them than the other next 10 platforms combined. 1 out of 5 people right now on their phone is on either Facebook or Instagram. And that's going up. All right, so what do? Now you take all that information that you get and you dump it into something we call the customer avatar. And this is worth its weight in gold. This will show you exactly all your targets. What kind of books are they reading? What kind of magazines do they read? What kind of websites do they visit? What kind of conferences do they go to? Sometimes a conference is called a trade association, right? Conferences can mean many things. It's just sometimes a conference is called a dirt bike rally, right? It just depends on your market, but there's some place that they congregate, right? What kind of gurus do they follow? This will really relate. What kind of objections do they have? This little tiny page is really all we use when we're running ads. We just put it down in front of us. That's where we get some of the copy. That's where we get, and this middle part, you notice it's kind of thrown in the middle because it's really not that important, honestly. The demographics, unless you only sell to women, unless you only sell to a certain thing, which again is you're probably wrong if you think you only sell to somebody. But if you do, then you can have that in there. But it's nice sometimes we have a person's picture. We do that a lot. So the truth is, these tools will help you pinpoint exactly where your perfect prospect is hanging out and how to put your offer right in front of them. Right? It is not a hard thing to find. So this is what we've covered. Ethically steal over $1 million with the 3-step traffic, which is the hot form cold, and the how to convert, how to fund. Questions so far? You guys getting this? You liking this? Yep.
All right. It's a lot to process.
No, lots of process?
Yeah.
All right. That's the...
So did you cover SEO and keywords and things like that? And is that, and were you saying that's the older? I mean, that's still.
I'm not saying it's the older,
So
but that's SEO.
People are still asking you to do that.
That's SEO,
Yeah.
right? Not saying that that's not important, that that's not a good source of traffic. I'm saying it's not scalable, it's not reliable, and it's not consistent. Can be for a short time, right? But Google's always changing its algorithm. And, they used to call that free traffic. They don't call that free traffic anymore, right? Because you got to create a lot of great content to get SEO really working. SEO is no longer just like flipping a bunch of switches, like it was when we did a video in my attic of he and his band, and we got him on the first page of Google, right? It was amazing. Never again, right? It's not going to happen. But it was great while it lasted, right? So, again, the algorithm changed. It changed. He was the last person to get it. The last person that got that. The next person it bombed. They'd be like, dude, I thought you could do this. I was like, I did too. I thought I could do it too.
And we tried it ourselves a few weeks later. We're like, how come it didn't work?
Yeah, it literally went, and they just turned, it was like turning a switch off. Google just went, no more, we're done. So, would anyone like a little help? Would you mind if I actually gave you an idea of how you would move forward with me if you wanted to? And how we could work together, right? Because here's what's happened to me. As my agencies gets bigger and bigger, right? And we get bigger clients. We just got a client in Atlantic City last week, right? That requires me to go down there. It's a huge project. It's 20 videos. It's going to take a lot of my time. So what's happening is I'm getting squeezed out of working with entrepreneurs and people that I started with, right? The people that have the Shopify stores, the people that have their business, right? Their small business. I'm getting squeezed out of working with them. So I've decided to create a 5-week training that does all of this, helps you do all of this, right? So This is what I call the Grow Now Marketing Social Ads Blueprint. Has training, tools, and let's go over it. Here's what you get. Basically, in a nutshell, it helps you increase sales in your small business, get a consistent, reliable source of leads in just about 5 weeks from start to finish. It will start 2 weeks from Monday. All right? Without losing a ton of money on ads that don't work or paying traditional agency rates. Wow, that's a nice slide. All right, so if you can see it, first week we're going to do core platforms, the core concepts of how Facebook and Instagram actually work. So we're going to get in there, we're going to walk you through how do you set up an ad? What do you do in the ads manager? What are the 3 different levels of ads? How do you get those to all work right? How do you not get lost and overwhelmed? This is the most sophisticated advertising platform we've ever had in the history of our race. So even though Facebook has tried to make it easy, it's not easy, right? So the training would be going through that. We do a live call every single week where we'll go back over the videos that you've done. The second week, we create your acquisition campaign. That's the cold campaign. The next week, your retargeting, which is more the warm, and the loyalty is the hot, right? So we create all 3 campaigns during this 5 weeks, right? A normal agency would charge you per campaign. We used to charge about $2,500 for each one. So right there, that would be that, right? And then the 5th week is launching, structuring, optimizing. So why I created it? Well, I just kind of told you, right? I just can't work with smaller business owners as much as I used to be able to do. I get topped out. I'm in this awkward place of being, a one-man guy with a bunch of outsourcers that probably needs to hire somebody full-time. Not quite there yet, so I'm kind of straddling both. So I'd like to be able to put this in a fashion where I could still help people that need the help, that want the help, but not have to take them all on at the same time. Of course, during the live calls, you'd have access to me. So I would be looking at your ads. So here's what you're going to get. 5 weeks of the social ads master class. I'd say $7.97 because that's what I would charge per hour. I charge $156 to work on people's ads. Right? Total value, $7.97. But I know that some people go, well, wait, my website, I got to fix that. Here's the thing. When you run ads, you almost never take somebody to a website. Anybody know why? Right. It's like I call it selling an amusement park. There's so many areas to go. If you give people a bunch of different areas to go, they will go on them. And they will get lost and they'll forget about you. And now you've paid for them to come and have an experience in your amusement park, but you didn't get any money back, right? Which is never what you want to do. You want to take them to a dedicated landing page, a page that's all about that offer and not your general website. 99 times out of 100, that's what needs to happen, okay? So, you don't need a website. What you need is landing page. So I know people go, how are we going to do that? Well, I have an affiliate with ClickFunnels, which is what I use to build my landing pages, my sales funnels. And with this, if you want, you don't have to have it, you get a 14-day trial with ClickFunnels. Right? So you can use the software, test it out 14 days, decide if you want it or not. And that way, and the great thing about ClickFunnels is there's this guy, Russell Brunson is his name, has actually been the first person in history to hit 100 million in 3 years in sales without any outside money. In other words, he didn't go pitch his thing in front of venture capitalists. He literally sold ClickFunnels and made 100 million in 3 years, a little less than 3 years. So he knows what he's doing, and he used the actual software to sell the software. So he used these landing pages. He's been proven, and there's so many different templates. There's everything in there. There's realtors, e-com, there's coaches, high ticket sales, whatever you have, somebody's done it. There's guitar people in there. It's crazy. Whatever you can dream of, it's already been done. It's been proven. It's been tested. It has conversion rates right there.
After the 14 days, is it like a monthly?
It's a monthly. Yeah. So with those tools, you can create landing pages instantly. You can clone these, literally clone, like literally just push a button and it comes into your account. And you can edit. It's drag and drop software. So it doesn't need a designer, doesn't need a coder, anything like that. You can do it in 30 minutes, but it used to take you about a week. So plus, since you'd be going through my affiliate commission, I earn a small affiliate on that, I would give you 3 hours. You'd have 3 hours of training, video training, that I would do for you with this, as a little bonus, okay? So I say $9.97. The reason why is because when we were at Bruckner Agency, we charged $1,500 to $2,500 for one landing page, right? With ClickFunnels, on the lower plan, you have about 20 different funnels that you can build. quite a lot. So here's you go, 5 weeks plus the ClickFunnels, and that's a total value of about $17.94. But I know that a lot of you might go, well, yeah, that's kind of cool, but how am I going to know how to, what kind of stuff works? Well, I've got proven traffic plays. These are kind of like recipes in a book. These are recipes that work over and over again in multiple markets. So these are kind of drag and drop recipes that you would just go, okay, I'm going to put my own product inside of this little headline formula that we have, and it's all there, right? So these are called proven traffic plays, and they actually have the whole funnel associated with them, so it's really drag and drop. So again, I had to spend a long time doing these, and people that I work with who have come up with these as well had to spend about 4 to 5 years. Spent a lot of money losing, so I think $1,000 for that would be pretty minimal for what you're getting for proven traffic plays that are still working, by the way. These things are still working. I used one last week. So 5 week social ad masterclass, ClickFunnels account, proven traffic plays, total value $27.91. But I know you still probably want that idea of this. How can I do it in 30 minutes, before and after? So I definitely would give you this with some training on that, about an hour, or probably more like a half hour, I guess, on this one, on how it works. And we'd be doing that on the calls. We'll walk you through step by step on developing that sales message, right? So now we're up to about 32.59. And then the next thing is you get the little customer avatar thing that we use all the time, right? So that's worth at least $1,500, right? Because that will, again, that's all we use when we're writing copy, when we're running these ads. We're putting all the targets right in front of us, all the objections, it's all right there. So, 1,500, okay, maybe you could argue, but I don't think so. So, here's what you get. Finally, ClickFunnels account, before and after, total value about $4,759. Just a couple of unannounced bonuses I didn't tell you about. Obviously, I'm not going to charge you that much, but if I did, right? If I did, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Right? So if all it did was get your ads set up without being held hostage by an agency, would it be worth that? Because an agency would charge you more than that just to get you acquainted, to redo your website and all the other stuff that they do, right? If all it did was show you that you can do this without being a creative type, without being a designer, would it be worth it? And all it did was find you your perfect customer, right? Exactly where they are. And so that you can even start using your organic or regular social media to stay in touch with those people. Would it be worth it? So when I started coming up with this week, I started thinking, well, I have two choices. I can make it cheap, or I can make it super valuable. So we always like to make things super valuable. So if it was to increase your sales, what would that be worth to you? So this would be something that, remember, you can dial it up, dial it down. It's kind of like a water faucet. If you have too much traffic, you can't handle it, you turn the ads off. If you don't have enough, you turn it up. Very different than referrals, right? Referrals are, I hope it comes through. I hope more people, maybe I should call some people, right? Very different. I'm just going to run this ad that I know works. Turn it on, right? If it can get you consistent, reliable source of leads so you can be more picky about who you work with, would that be worth it? So, for $4,759 regular value, your guys are all here, you stayed here, right? So, here's what it would be. If you want to take a look at it, that's the ugly, very ugly URL. It's no www, just b1stinline.sampart.com/products/GNM social ads blueprint. If you go there right now, that's where you would find it. So at this point, you've got, like the Matrix, you see that? You've got two choices. You can continue doing what you're doing, if that's struggling for leads, if that's hoping on referrals, if that's paying people for social media updates that you're not sure are actually getting you business, or you can go with a proven trackable system. That's the other thing. This is extremely trackable. You know if your ads are working. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no I think we got some good reach. No, it's did you make money? Did you get a return on your ad spend? So, of course, there's a guarantee. If you don't think it shows you exactly how to do this without losing a ton of money, or paying for outrageously expensive traditional advertising, then I'll absolutely refund your money. No questions asked, right? 60 days, no questions asked. If you decide to do it today, there is a bonus, right? I will send you a series of questions. You can send me back the answers to those questions, and I will use the software that we use to help us write copy in our agency, right? So this will actually give you yet another kind of safeguard about your copy if you're worried about that. So this would be proven generated copy written by Russell Brunson. Actually, Russell Brunson and his partner generate this software. And it's been used again in multiple markets. Really works. So today only, that if you decided to do this today, you'll do it. So yes, learning copy is very difficult. It takes many, many years to do. And I'm giving it a value of $697, and because that's what I paid Russell for his software. All right, so your final total value with everything in it, $5,456. Everything included, if you sign up today, that is. And you can do 3 payments. You can get started for $250, and in 30 days, another $250, and 30 days, another $250. Again, that's the URLs. You want to use a paid wins coupon. Now you've got to use the paid wins. It doesn't work without. Otherwise, it's $500, it's $1,500. Right? So it's double the price without the coupon. The coupon's only good till tomorrow. I believe. Tomorrow at midnight. Yeah. So tomorrow at midnight, the coupon gets turned off, and that's it. And that's what I got for you. Questions? Anyone?
How do we get all this stuff? It's coming in through email and then there's calls I
Yep.
have to set up?
Yeah, so in 2 weeks, the whole video training, you'll get access to that. It'll be dripped out, so you won't get all the videos at once, because it's overwhelming. So videos per week, and then all the bonus kind of things will come with it each week as you need them. I'm a big believer in not overwhelming. So as you need them, you'll get it dripped out. And the phone call, the live, it's done through Zoom. Live webinars will be done every Monday. Starting in 2 weeks from now, there will be one Monday off, beginning of April, because I'm going to Traffic and Conversion Summit. But it will continue on from there. So it's 5 full weeks. There may even be a bonus week. Can't guarantee it.
What time of the live